Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fruitful Trees. Today on the show, I have an interview with Pete, who has a lychee farm, and he's been farming fruit trees for many, many years. And I wanted to go and get the backstory because there's not too many people that have been able to interview Pete about growing fruit trees and things like this. And I'm so excited to get there and talk to him because he has so much information and knowledge. And every time I go there, I have great conversations with him. So today on the show, we're going to have Pete, and we're going to talk about growing all different types of fruit trees, not only lychees. And we're going to hear some of the things he's learned over the years, a wealth of knowledge, and check it out. Here it goes. Okay, everybody, this is Pete, and he's a wholesale grower of fruit trees here in West Palm Beach. Thanks for coming on the show, Pete. Pete, how long have you been growing tropical fruits?
25 years or so.
And what got you into growing tropical fruit trees?
Well, I moved, my company moved me down here, I think in 75 or something like that. And so I didn't know I was going to stay very long. So the first thing I did is bought an orange tree, planted it, cost me $75 for a nice big one. And I kept on adding orange trees to my yard. And I had like about 25 when they came through and wiped them all out.
So when you say wipe them all out, for those viewers that don't know, oranges used to be popular here, but then a bug came or something and
Yeah,
killed all the trees, or the
cichlid
government
or
came.
something like that. I forgot what it was, but it's
Yeah.
my trees were getting like 25 years old at that time, and so it wasn't they were starting to deteriorate anyway, so it wasn't that bad of a wasn't much of a loss. Plus they paid me for them, so it was.
So then you had some land and you decided to plant other tropical fruit trees.
Well, I was still working at that time, and then I retired from my job, and I did some fancy um, financing and got 40 apartments. So I was a landlord for like about 10 years, and I've got them for like 10% down. So I had
Collected
big
the rent
mortgage.
and made some money.
Yep, made money that way because they let you do that those days. They don't
Yeah.
let you do that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So when you were growing up, did you have any knowledge about growing fruit trees?
No, but when I was like 10 years old, my dad gave me a plot in the backyard to grow my own stuff.
Wow. So how many acres do you have here now?
33.
33. And I see some longan trees, and then in the back I saw some jackfruit, and I bought lychees from you in the past. So what variety of fruits do you sell wholesale?
Uh, we sell sapodilla, atamoya, um, Chinese plum. Um, we try to sell Mammy Saporti, but we aren't doing too good at that. Lychee, longan. We're trying to do soursop, but we're not doing too good at that. Dubota caba, passion fruit, canistel, which is also called egg fruit, and jackfruit.
Okay. Now I know a lot of your crop is lychee, and there's a lychee mite now.
Yeah.
So has that affected you?
Um, Not really, because the fruit still comes through. Sometimes they get on the fruit, so you just gotta throw them away. But usually they're fine.
So if somebody was starting at a farm and they wanted to plant lychee, would you tell them go ahead, or would you say there's better
Yeah,
choices?
lychees are really hard to grow, and I mean, even without the mite, it's some years you get good crops, and some years you get no crops. Like last year, we had hardly any fruit, so it's really any kind of fruit in Florida is a problem because usually you have competition for anything.
Sure.
So if you want to make money, don't grow fruit trees.
Sure. What kind of lychee varieties do you grow?
High Kip, Sweetheart, Mauritius. We have some Emperor and Brewster.
Okay, a backyard grow. They only have room for one lychee tree. Which variety do you recommend?
They want to get fruit every year, Mauritius.
Mauritius. Okay.
It does. It's got a big seed, but you can you can give it a good amount of fertilizer and it gets a good fruit.
Okay, because some of the lychees are not every year, and
Well,
Mauritius is.
my leaches are every year, but I I have like 3 times as much work to produce a sweetheart, maybe even 4 or 5 times as I do for a Mauritius. Mauritius are just, you just plant them and just about forget them. But the sweetheart, you gotta spend all kinds of time giving a special fertilizer, special trimming, special watering, and it's a real pain in the neck. And like my emperor tree, I've had it for maybe 30 years. I've only had 3 crops on it, so
Wow.
that's not a good one.
No, no. And for jackfruit, what varieties were you saying you had here?
um,
I know
Super
yeah.
Thai, Black Gold. That's the only ones I have planted as varieties.
And the rest are seedlings.
Yeah, most of them are seedlings from the Super Thai.
And how do the seedlings do?
They're fine. They produce more fruit than the
Original.
original ones.
Do they taste similar to it?
No.
So they taste complete. Does each seedling taste different, or?
Yeah.
Wow, each seedling tastes different.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this,
I mean, it's a very slight difference, but it's
sure.
different. It's not. They're never true to the mother plant.
And I heard seedlings grow more straight up instead of wide. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with all the great varieties of jackfruit and the chance you take on a seedling, because sometimes they're not good, what made you decide not to just plant a bunch of varieties that are known instead of just seedlings?
Well, the grafted ones usually they take longer to get fruit on them, and they're slower growing. And I've had some grafted ones, and they died off on me. So that, I mean, seedlings don't die off on me.
Sure. And do you water your trees here?
Yeah, every day.
Okay, all your trees.
Well, all the trees we water them, but they all have different water requirements. On this 13 acres, I bought it and it was all set up so I couldn't individualize them. On my other 20 acres, every variety is on its own acre, so I can adjust the water to what it's supposed to be for that particular tree.
Sure.
It's like jackfruit require, a good amount of water year round. With lychees, you got to kind of slow the watering down certain times of the year and speed it up, and it's a lot harder to do it if everything's together.
Sure. Do you grow avocados?
Avocados, yeah.
What varieties?
Um, Brogdon is the best one we got. I don't offhand remember the names of the other ones, but the other ones we don't get. We have one's called pumpkin, which
Pumpkin, yes,
is a
yes.
very
Big
popular
one.
variety.
It's
Yeah,
a what variety?
pumpkin.
Yeah, it's a big variety.
Yeah, and it's very popular.
Popular, yeah.
But my trees had some problem with it last year, so
Yeah.
it's not doing too good this year.
Have you heard of the avocado bug that's going around? Was it a weasel or a bug?
Yeah, I think one
Le-
of my trees got it, but I've had these trees for 25 years, and I think only one of them in the meantime has ever got it. They don't. It doesn't seem to be spreading as much as the mites are spreading.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about mangoes? How much acreage do you have of mangoes here?
Probably about 50 plants.
50 trees.
Yeah.
And all one variety or different
No,
varieties?
everyone's. They're just about every different variety I could think of. I wanted to be able to get cuttings from them so I could graft them, but it turns out I didn't know how to graft.
So do you have a lot of seedlings or just
No,
most?
I just
Oh,
grew the grafted ones. I just grow grafted ones and nothing else.
so what's your most popular variety of mango that you sell?
I can't remember the name offhand, so I'm not sure.
Sure. And is there one mango that might, I mean, do they all do great or some do better than
Well,
others?
they all do good. It's just that some are bigger than other ones, and when you're selling them wholesale, the stores usually want bigger mangoes, and they don't care too much if they're real sweet or real good tasting. They just want bigger mangoes. And then when you sell them to the stores, they want you to label what they are so they can tell their customers what they are, and so the customers can sample the different varieties. And so but the stores usually don't care about how they taste. They just want bigger mangoes. But the
Sure.
customers want good tasting ones. So that's why they want the names on them.
And when you got the mangoes, did you think about the seasons, which ones are early, middle, and late, or did you not consider that at the time?
Yeah, I didn't consider that. I didn't think they were. I didn't really know there was.
But did you find out that there are some that are late season, some that
Yeah,
are
but they
early?
aren't that much different. I mean, mine are just about like maybe 2 weeks apart for early and late. So the biggest
Sure.
problem I have with mangoes is out here in Loxahatchee, we get a lot more humidity than you do closer to the ocean, and so I have a place close to the ocean that I grow the Lynchy Pride. Oh, that's my favorite variety. So, and that one gets big fruit and it's clean. There's no black specks on it or anything. But that's because it's closer to the ocean and it gets all that salt air. Out here, we're 25, 30 miles from the ocean, so we don't get salt air. So we don't get any cleaning of the mangoes. So we gotta spray them with um, sulfur and whatever else to keep the black spot off.
Sure,
So it's a
sure.
big problem growing them out here.
Yeah, it's more challenging.
Yeah.
And when you planted your mango trees, how far apart did you plant them? Do you remember?
Um, I think originally I planted them 25 to, yeah, 25 feet north south, 20 feet east west. But then I started planting some in between, and they did just as good. So they were like 10, 15 feet apart. But the ones I planted in between were smaller varieties. Like
Now, when you got those smaller varieties, did you know they were smaller
yeah,
varieties on
yeah.
purpose?
Then I found out about these dooryard varieties and or I think called condo
Yeah,
mangoes.
Condor or Dwarf, yeah.
Yeah,
So do the big varieties like shade out the smaller varieties, or you haven't found that to be true?
yeah. If you let them, yeah. But I kind of trim them every year or two. So they, I've trimmed them just about every year. But if you trim them, they have a when you trim mangoes, it's different process of trimming mangoes than lychee. If you trim a mango, it gets pissed off and doesn't give you fruit the next year on that side that you trimmed it. So what I do is I trim one side only 1 year, and then I'll go to the other side next year. And so I still have um, three sides that I'll have fruit on each year, and I can still keep them under control.
Yeah, I've heard people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you do that with lychee, it doesn't really matter. Most lychees have a requirement that they need more sun, so you have to trim all sides and make sure that there's like 10 feet of open space between each tree to get a good fruiting.
sure.
Mangoes don't care that much.
Have you tried many of the New Zealand variety mangoes, the new ones that are out now?
Yeah, some of them I have. I have some of the New Zealand ones. I just don't remember the names.
What do you think of them in terms of
Well, the
flavor
one I
wise?
have it gets nice and big. I can't remember the name of it, and it's good tasting. And the guy that works for me, that's his favorite mango. And it's later in the season, and it gets a lot of fruit. And but some of the varieties that are Zills they have these uh, weird names like lemon meringue and stuff like that. They're harder to get to flower and even more to set fruit because you get what's it called well anyway the fruit gets wiped out. Uh,
Yeah. Well, there's a thing now called bacterial black spot. It's a disease for mangoes. Do your trees get that, where
uh,
they get spotted with black spots and messed up?
well, they get black spots, but I don't. It's not called black spots. It's more of a anthracnose.
Anthracnose,
Yeah, we
okay.
get anthracnose, but we don't get any black spots.
And you spray for your mangoes out here, right?
Yeah,
Like you said?
yeah.
All right. Well, wonderful. So, when it comes to sapodilla that you grow, do you know what your favorite variety to grow of
Malex,
sapodilla is? Huh?
Malex.
Molex, yes.
Yeah, it's what everybody wants. If I sell them Malex, they want more of that variety. They don't want the other varieties.
Do you grow other varieties?
Yeah,
Okay. And is Molex your personal favorite one, other than the money it makes?
yeah, yeah. It's sweet and it's got a good taste and it's just rather consistent.
Now we're right before mango season now. Summertime's coming. We're in the spring, and there's a lot of fruit that's going to be coming soon. Right now we're in a low period with fruit. I know there's some star apple. Do you sell star apple, Camito?
We grow them, but there's not a good market. You can't get very much money for them, so we don't even try anymore.
Sure.
So we have my the favorite variety my wife really likes is what's that called? Um, it's got a long name. I forgot.
Of what? Star apple?
Yeah, not
Habili?
star apple.
Oh,
I always thought it was. I was. I don't have. I have one star apple over here, but I was thinking of star fruit.
star fruit.
Yeah,
Yes. Kerry? Or they have.
cherry is okay, but there's another one that she really likes. I forgot the name of it.
Sure. And your customers that come here, are they local growers, or they come from out of state, like, or
Mostly
out of
just
city?
local people. We sell to different stores around here and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And we have people that come here. I just had a guy calling this morning asking when I'm going to have lychees available. And so
Wow. So with all these years experience you had, if somebody was starting a new farm, or not even a farm, a backyard, and they could only grow like 5 fruit trees, what would you recommend?
well, one fruit that's really reliable, I guess, is the Chinese plum, also called loquat. If you want to grow that, that's really easy to grow. And if you get a good variety, I have a variety here. It's called Christmas. And I had a guy here the other day, and he's been tasting them all over the state, and he said that's the best variety he's ever tasted. So if you get a good variety of those, then they're really easy to grow. So just get one of those because you have success right away.
So one of the trees would be loquat. Okay. What about the other 4?
Uh, yeah, probably get a good mango.
Okay. So
Yeah,
a good mango.
yeah. Like I said, my favorite is the Valencia Pride
Yeah.
because that gets. The only trouble with Valencia Pride is it grows like crazy up. It gets a horrible amount of fruit on it.
Sure.
The one tree I have, we picked. I think we picked 1,000 pounds off that one tree this last year,
Wow.
and every other year we get 1,000 pounds. But then, after we were done picking, I had 2 guys picking fruit for me, and after we were done picking, I told them to cut the tops off.
Oh, so you try to keep them somewhat
But that
controlled.
Valencia Pride, you have to.
Yes.
I have a friend I bought him. He wanted a Valencia Pride, so I got him one, and he doesn't trim it, and it's out of control. I told him to
Yeah.
trim it, but he didn't
Do you
listen
trim
to
it
me.
every year? You try to?
And just about, yeah,
And the fruits every year.
yeah.
Very nice.
Even
Very
though
nice.
I trim it the wrong way, it still fruits.
All right. So loquat and mango. What are the other 3 you would tell people to get?
If you want a lychee, you can get a Mauritius, but
So you would still say lychee even though the mites are around.
yeah, you can manage the mites. I don't think it's that big of a problem. If you keep the tree real healthy, it won't get that many mites. It will just get a few. If you let it go and don't take care of it, then it's going to get more mites. But um,
So
I
is the lychee and mango the same season or different?
my lychees are a little bit before the mangoes. Usually when
Okay.
I'm done with lychees, then we go into mangoes.
Okay. So you got loquat. Then you're gonna have uh, uh, lychees. You're gonna have and
Sapodilla is good. I would get a sapodilla because they're
sapodilla,
dependable. You get fruit off of those every year.
and that's winter time as well too. So that's
Yeah,
good.
we started picking ours in February actually, and we're still picking now, and we'll be picking all the way through lychee season
What
because
would
we
the
have
other
different
2 be?
varieties. Um, you could get passion fruit if you have a space, but they usually go out of control if it's a backyard. And what else?
Would you recommend people get a jackfruit?
Nah,
No, why not?
they're too hard to clean.
Too hard to clean.
Yeah. Um, well, if you could get a Atamoya,
Atamoya.
yeah, they taste better than sugar apples, and they have more fruit on them than sugar apples.
Okay, they fruit well out here.
Out here, yeah, I even have a variety that's made for California that's not supposed to grow here, and it grows fine here.
What's that called?
There you go, Ken.
There you go. Okay. Wow. And it grows fine here.
Yeah, I get fruit off of it. Well, it took like 5 to 7 years to get the first crop off of it. But like a Gefner Ademoya, you get fruit off of it pretty quick. But the other, I have a Lisa Ademoya. That was a little harder. But they get a bigger fruit, and they're not quite as dependable.
Sure.
But Gefner is real dependable.
And I see you have a longan tree, you have dragon fruit. Do you grow a lot of both of those?
Yeah, we have probably 2 acres of longan, and we have like 3 acres of dragon fruit, but they're not doing too well right now because they have a fungus. I have a couple different sprays that I'm working on and trying to spray, but I don't spray. The only sprays I use are certified organic sprays, and there's not any good sprays for dragon fruit right now.
Uh-huh. And do you have a fungus every year, or just this is just? Oh, you do.
It's been there for 4 or 5 years now.
So they're
it's just about wiped out the trees. These are doing a lot better than the ones I have in the grove, but there's too many close together, so they spread the disease. Here, there's only 1 or 2. If you could get a dragon fruit and just have it separated from everything else, you could probably do okay with it. But if you start getting into a lot of them, then it's pretty easy to get the disease. All the other growers I know have got the disease, and so it's.
Besides the trees that you just recommended, what are a couple of tips you would recommend for people to growing trees, fruit trees?
Well, best thing to do is know how to fertilize them. That's the best thing. Every tree has a different fertilizing regime, and you got to figure out what that is. And it's very hard to find out. The documentation doesn't really tell you correctly what the fertilizing, what you're supposed to do. They tell you good how to get the tree up to a certain size, but then they don't give you good directions on how to get the fruit on it. Because I guess they're more interested in getting big trees.
Now, it's helpful, but is it necessary to fertilize? I know it's helpful, but will they fruit without fertilization?
I thought when I first started, I was under the misconception that you could grow them with just mulch, but that you don't get as good a fruit without fertilizer. Because I think the problem is, first couple years you can probably get the fruit on, but then the trees are going to eat up all the nutrients from the soil, and you won't have nutrients left, so you got to replenish the nutrients, and that's the problem. You have to give it the nutrients back, and mostly the important nutrients are the minor elements, not the NPK. NPK isn't as important as. Actually, I don't give the trees any nitrogen at all unless they have fruit on them. And I want to keep the tree healthy, but the nitrogen is only to keep the tree from going yellow. And the phosphorus, you don't really need hardly any phosphorus. And the potassium is good, but only when you have fruit on. But the minor elements is what you need in to get it to flower in the first place. These NPK isn't going to get it to flower.
Sure. So if there are no good guides on how to fertilize, what do people have to self-learn?
Well, you can just give them minor elements, and that's the important thing. Just give them minor elements, and then figure out what time of the year to give them the NPK. The minor elements, we inject minor elements into the watering system, so we're giving them minor elements daily, and it doesn't matter when you give them the minor elements at all.
Oh, you put them in the water, so that's how you get on all the trees.
That's too much work to do.
Yeah. Wow, I was thinking of that's great.
33 acres. My arm is getting too old for that kind of stuff.
You get them in the water, okay.
I got a rotator cuff problem and all the other problems, so I can't do that stuff
So
anymore.
Besides the fertilization, what's another tip for growing trees?
Keep them trimmed so they don't block out each other.
Okay, so sunlight's important.
Yeah.
What's the issue you had with Mamey out here?
Well, the first problem I had is they freeze easily. They don't like frost at all. So I lost a couple trees even with a little frost. And then the problem with mamey is it's hard to tell when they're ripe. You got to go out and scratch them. And I don't have time to scratch all these trees all the time.
Sure.
And plus, you only get like about $2 a pound wholesale for them. So it's really not a good. It's a good fruit. Tastes really good. And if you have it in your backyard, it's a good tree to have in your backyard. But to grow it commercially, I'm not sure it's worthwhile anymore.
Do you have a garden at your own house? Do you grow trees at
Yeah.
your own house? How much acreage do you have at your personal house?
It's about 2/3 of an acre.
Oh, so you don't have many trees there.
No,
Okay.
just got one lychee tree, couple sapodillos. Actually, I'm trying to go soursop there. It's relatively good.
Did you say you have a property close to the water? Is that your house, or
Yeah.
is that another wholesale property?
No, that's just my house. Close to the
Okay.
water.
Okay. Very nice. Well, I appreciate your wisdom. Could we take a couple of minutes and just show us a couple of trees before we go?
Yeah, which ones you want to see?
Well, show us, maybe we'll look at your mangoes and avocados and...
Mangoes. There's no mangoes around here.
Okay. Well, whatever you think. Show us maybe a jackfruit and avocado.
Avocados. No good avocados around here.
Whatever you
Got
think.
jackfruit over here. if
Yeah,
you want
show
to
us
see
the
that.
jackfruit. All right, everybody. That was Pete. I told you Pete was wonderful. And so much information from people that have been doing this a long time. That's how we learn. And I learned from Pete. And I'm so glad about his farm. It's locally here. And I've been able to get dragon fruit, lychees, jackfruit from him in the past. Always a wonderful supply of fruit. And just great to stand on a property that's growing so much amazing trees and speak to somebody who has so much information. And I'm glad I was able to share it with you, my viewers. I'm going to put Pete's contact information below so you can try to contact him and see if how that works out, if you can get in touch with him. But if you do have other questions, post them below, and next time I meet Pete, I'll ask him some of these questions if you have anything you want to know. Until then, everybody, have a great day and keep growing.